How do you get a kamikaze pilot to be a kamikaze pilot? Get someone to commit suicide via plane crash. Purposeful. Well, we're going to discuss this and a little bit more into what dictates and how you can control human behavior in a society and in yourself. Thinking inside the box has never produced extraordinary results. That's why we think critically out here. Welcome to Questionable Thoughts. So you may or may not know who the man Tony Robbins is. If you don't, you should know. But basically, I'm probably his biggest fan. I'm a nerd, okay? I have his tapes on my Walkman at the gym in my pocket. And I'm just a giant nerd. That certification is from Tony Robbins. His organization, and I'm just a huge fan. And so I wanted to show you a video from when he was a youngin' doing a seminar, and he really talks about what dictates and creates human behavior and how it is controlled, and basically how you can get someone to crash a plane and commit suicide by getting them into a specific state, controlling their external stimulus to create an internal representation, which is the way you communicate inside of your mind, and also using your physiology as well. And it's really interesting, and I wanted to show it to you. So we're going to get into that today. So let's pull it up.
So just jot that down. That's really what I want you to get. Every human problem is a behavioral problem. Every human problem is a behavioral problem.
Okay. Makes sense.
War is not a problem.
No.
As itself, it's not an entity. It is a what kind of problem?
It's a societal problem. It's the behavioral tendencies of people in power to try to conquer other nations, therefore going to war. That is human behavioral problems.
Behavior. I thought all problems are behavioral problems. By changing our behaviors, we could change the entire world. We have that ability as humans.
The problem is that in order to change the whole world with this knowledge, you need to have power. Power as in the ones who control events and control the money, and the elites at the top that basically call the shots as to the current events, right? Those are the ones who have the ability to affect the masses, because they're the ones who control the news, they're the ones who control the largest industries that control the world, right? And when you have the ones that are in control that know how to control a society and know how to control human behavior, and they are all evil, corrupt, power-hungry Satanists, not saying that's what they are, but if they were to be that, then that would be a problem, wouldn't it?
In an individual. I don't care what it is. If I want to impose, I could do that. I can create any belief system, any change, because I understand enough about human motivation and how to create any set of behaviors, because I can create any state. If I was a bad person, I could make you in a state, as I gave you an example, where you would kill someone if I was a bad person, because all I'd have to do is put you in a trance, use my external stimulus to create an internal representation that someone is about to murder your child or daughter, and you had a gun in your hand, they're about to stab them. There's only one way to stop them: shoot. And how many...
Okay, well, that's a good point, Robbins, but can you explain it a little bit more? You know what I'm saying? An internal representation of an external stimulus is the way that your body and mind communicate with your brain to create the state, which is just a bunch of neurons firing and making you feel feelings that create your behavior. What kind of external stimulus do you need to do in order to get someone to do that? It kind of gets confusing, so maybe he'll go deeper into it and kind of explain a little bit more of how it works.
people would shoot? See, so the bottom line is I could change anybody's state and create any behavior individually. On the negative side, I can also do the positive side. I can take anybody who felt terrible about anything, somebody who's going to commit suicide, and I can change their state and they no longer commit suicide. I can get that same person who used to be in a prison and get them to do this. Somebody who knew they couldn't ever get a job, go out and end up being a partner in a business. I've had that ability, and I'm not special. I just understand the technologies. I want to point something out to you.
So this is the source. This is the epitome of what dictates human behavior, what creates the actions that you take in your life on a daily basis is this right here.
Here's what this whole talk is about tonight. All human behavior is the result of what? We've talked about this weekend. Result of what?
State.
State. All human behavior is the result of state. Now here's what we need to realize. State is the result of what?
Internal representation what? And physiology.
Representations and or physiology. What affects physiology? Temperature, smog, anything in the environment, your biochemistry, the way you eat, any of.
And that can all be controlled, right? But the goal here is to unleash the shackles of all control and only control yourself. That is the goal here. And so here we're learning about how human behavior is controlled so that we can see it from afar and understand what they're really doing.
Any of those will determine your physiology, and that'll determine a lot of your state and what kind of behaviors you produce as an individual. And you become a model for others, by the way. Everyone is a model for someone. How do you get somebody to be a kamikaze? How do you get somebody to be a kamikaze pilot? How do you do that? How do you get someone to create a behavior called kill thyself?
Isn't that crazy? Where literally that is the epitome of behavioral control. Taking someone who had no intention of ending their life and literally creating the exact opposite behavior from the innate senses and purpose on this earth. Every single creature here is built to survive. Every instinct that you have is survival instincts. And to manipulate someone's mind to create the behavior of suicide via airplane is absolutely mind-blowing. So he's going to talk about how this process happens and really how you create the behavior of kill thyself in someone who had no intention of doing so before.
Right? What you can do is, one of the things you can do, you got to change their state, because they're not going to kill themselves in a normal, everyday state. They're not going to put their plane into a truck or into a car, into a home, or into a boat or a ship in a normal state. You have to change it. So one way you can do is change their physiology. So you can drug them. That's one way, right? Another way is you can create internal representations that create a state of pride, strength, beauty associated to this thing called kamikaze. And is that not what the Japanese did? Did they not create huge numbers of people who would kill themselves and do it consistently at any time? Yeah, you know why they did that? Because they had external stimulus. Just remember this. They had external stimulus from the environment that created representations that if they did this, they would be creating all this other positive stuff. So whenever they thought about killing themselves, it was an internal representation of pride, love, supporting your country. Your family would be honored because you were a kamikaze. And they did it over and over again until it was a clear internal representation. They believed it, put it in a state of pride, produced the behavior called kamikaze.
Okay, now that's it for that video because I want to talk about this specific thing. When he says creating the behavior of kamikaze by using an external stimulus to create representation that meets the needs of this person, when you meet the wants, the desires, and needs of someone and give them, or by giving them a solution, they will take it every single day of the week, son. Okay. They basically, how they got this guy to kill himself is by fulfilling his need for love. He gets love from his family, his friends. He feels pride. He feels significance. He feels honorable. He's doing it for his country. He's contributing to the greater good by doing this. And if he doesn't, then he's a coward. He's all of the things that he would never want to be. And they put all these labels on each side of the spectrum. And obviously, by understanding these people, you are able to understand what they want, what they need, what they fear most, and what they don't want more than anything. And all you have to do to get someone to do anything is associate more pain, more of what they don't want, to not doing it, and more pleasure to doing it. And that is how you sell anyone on anything, is by associating more pain of not being a kamikaze pilot and more pleasure to being one. And that is exactly what is happening today. They are meeting the needs of society, of these people who they want significance, they want love, they want safety, they want security, they want to feel like they're a part of the solution, they want to feel important, and they're offering those feelings because that's all we want in the first place. All these goals, all these things that you want in your life are really just the feelings that you associate to having them. And when you can associate the most desired feelings of someone and associate them to a shot, a mask, obeying the regulations that they're putting on us, when you can associate all of the most pleasurable feelings on earth to that, you will get a massive amount of control because so many people would do anything for those feelings, especially when they don't get them in their own lives. You know, significance is the number one need that everybody has to meet in their lives. One way or the other, they need to feel like they're better and more important than others, right? And when you can offer that through the giving up freedom and taking control and telling people what to do and saying it's for the greater good, they will feel significant, and that's all they want. They just want to feel like they have a purpose here, right? So being able to shame others for having it be now a pandemic of the unvaccinated, having anti-maskers being the scum of the earth, and I am noble because I am protecting my neighbors. I am a part of the solution. I did my part. I got vaccinated, and I will be remembered as part of the solution, the one that put an end to this. That's what they're associating with this shot, with these masks. And for some, you can see right through it, right? But for others, it's harder to see because they're blinded by the desire of these feelings. And the people that are creating this facade they know damn well that they're controlling you through your psychology, and you have no idea. There's 6 human needs. I think I already said this, but if not, I'll say it again. There's certainty, the need for safety and security, the need to feel comfortable, the need to feel like you're all good, you're going to be fine, you have your retirement, you got your benefits just in case you get sick, you got your family's benefits, you can provide, you're safe, right? You're comfortable. Then and things are predictable. If things were predictable, every single day was going to be the exact same, and you knew exactly what was going to happen, when it was going to happen, and everything, you would go absolutely bonkers. You would go insane. And so we need variety. We need uncertainty just as much as we need certainty. For some, it's a little different, right? Everybody loves uncertainty until it's the wrong kind of uncertainty, right? I like adrenaline rushes. I like to go on adventures. I like to do all these things that make me feel, that change my state. That's really all variety is a state change. That's why people get addicted to cigarettes, to alcohol, to drugs, to a vape. All of these things change your state and make it different from the regular the regular comfort, right? It's getting uncomfortable or just changing the biochemical structure of your body, the excitement, the surprise. We need that stuff, right? Third of all, we already talked about it a little bit, significance. That's why you see, people with piercings all over their faces, people with tattoos, I got tattoos because I like them. I think that I am significant and I have a different tattoo and I came up with it on my own, right? It was my idea and it's different than everybody else's. And therefore, I like to be different than everybody else. If I was called average or normal, I would be offended as shit. I don't want to be a part of the crowd. I want to be different. And that's where you get people wanting to feel different or better than others, because you need to feel, it's the feeling of importance. And that is the number one need in society today, especially with how huge social media is. Every single one of us needs to feel important, needs to feel significant, because that's what we've been trained to do, with iCarly being one of the biggest children's shows. All these Disney shows like Victorious, they're all celebrities, Jonas Brothers, all these different things, especially the younger kids, need significance. And they need likes and they need validation that they're significant. And when you can offer someone the highest level of significance, and you're being validated by the government, by the media every single day for being a part of the solution, you're noble, you're a warrior. You are the solution. Everybody else is the problem. They're scum, they are anti-vaxxers, they are anti-maskers, and they deserve to die. And you don't, because you are the solution. You are amazing, right? It makes you feel good because you're being told you are the best and everybody else sucks, and everybody wants that. And that is what they're giving you in return for your freedoms, is validation. But you're only going to be able to go down that road for so long until you fly off a cliff. You're just running on a treadmill, complying, and then the more you comply, the deeper you get, and the deeper you get, the less you can get out. Once your freedoms are taken, you can't get them back because you already gave them up. And then you just go off the cliff, and then boom, it's done. So, last need is the need for love and connection. The need to have a community, the need to have friends, the need to feel accepted, the need for community. That's why gangs are so prevalent out here. Like, that meets every single one of the needs. And when something meets multiple needs, it becomes more and more addicting, right? And so you see people getting security, having backup, where if you get mugged, you're going to have 7 dudes got your back, taking care of you. Okay, then you get uncertainty. You got some gang-related violence going on. You got drug deals. You got all this crazy shit. It is not a very safe life. It's crazy out there, I'm sure. I'm not a part of a gang and never have been, but I can see from my perspective how it would be. You get significance because when you put a gun to someone's face, they're going to do whatever you say. You are the most significant person in their life in that moment. And that makes you feel powerful, right? And then you also get that love and connection. You get that community around you. That's why Black Lives Matter was so big. Because it was a movement, right? It was a community. You felt like you were a part of something and you were accepted by everyone in it. Until it became, the opposite, where it was basically a club and you ain't allowed in if you ain't down with everything we say. But that aside, when you meet more than one need, when you can meet the love and connection, when you can have people get in a group of, oh, we are all the solution. I'm vaxxed. Everybody posts their picture of, hey, I'm in the club. Everybody check me out. I did it too. When you walk around and everybody's wearing their masks and they're like, hey, I see you out here doing your duty. It's like you're in a club. And it's the same it's the same thing for the Patriots. They feel like they're in a club. And that's how they do it, is they separate us, get us a part of our own teams, and then make us fight each other. That way we don't see what the real problem is, because if we bicker in here the whole time and they're the ones stirring the pot, playing the little puppets, and all we're doing is looking at each other because it's a puppet show, we don't see the person pulling the strings. Until we step back and settle our differences and come together, we're just going to keep playing the puppet show while they literally just destroy us. But they're so good at it, they've been doing it forever. However, pain is a far greater motivator than pleasure. That's all pleasure stuff. Meeting your needs, that's all pleasure stuff. A feared society is the easiest to control. And that's why you saw in these last 2 years the most fear-mongering a media has ever done in the entire history of the world. All they've done for the last 2 years is create a Stonewall association in your subconscious that COVID will kill you. It is the bad. All they've done is just mash fear down your throat and get you to associate massive pain to the word COVID. It's called an anchor. And what they do is they associate. An anchor is an association of something to a feeling. And what they basically do is associate fear, massive amounts of fear, anxiety, and depression to COVID. Right? And then after that, they make sure that you never, ever, ever can go anywhere without seeing something that reminds you of that thing that makes you scared, depressed, lonely, and sad. And in that state, they anchor you into that state every day on the commercials, on the advertisements, on the social media, in the stores, on the megaphone at Walmart. Everybody's wearing a mask. You cannot get away from the anchor that puts you in a state of fear and depression and loneliness. And when you are in that state, not only does your immune system drop, so you're easily going to be able to catch the damn thing, but you're also easily controlled in that state because you just want to get out of that feeling. You just want to get out of that state. And when a person of power says, I can get you out of that state, all you have to do is what I say. And all you have to give is your freedoms, and then it'll all go away. And they're liars. And that is exactly how we get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until we die. And we can't let that happen. So I want you to go and try to spot these things in real life. Try to spot what the media tells you, what is on social media, everything from here on out. Think about these human needs and how they're using this pain and pleasure stuff to create the motivation to do what they want you to do. And then understand that they are only doing these things to manipulate your psychology into giving up your freedom and letting them control you. Now, if you do that for me and for yourself, I promise you, you will not be easily controlled in the future. And you can actually use these things to control yourself by associating more pain to not taking action on your dreams and goals, and more pleasure to getting them done and doing it now. So, with that being said, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you want to give me some feedback, I'd love it. I also am looking to have people on here that I can talk to, because I don't know how much longer you can take listening to just my voice, and I really want to have a back and forth conversation or two or a million. So I'd like to have some people in person, but there's not enough people that live around me to continue this day in and day out and actually have enough episodes to make an actual podcast. So we got Zoom, we got technology. Let me know who you want to see on a podcast and get to know them better, because I love getting to know people, and I can get to know them for you so that you can see the inside scoop on what they believe, what they are like in person. And I want to talk to people, so let me know who you think I should. Anyways, thank you for listening, and I will see you next time on the next installment of the Questionable Thoughts Podcast.